Welcome to the Minnesota ProAm Bass Tour, the state's richest tournament fishing event. Our fourth stop, our most beautiful stop, brings us to Lake Vermillion in Tower, Minnesota. I'm Chip Lear.
And I'm Tommy Scarless.
Tommy, this is great. Anglers work all year long to make the Tournament of Champions. Now there's only one lake between them and that championship. It's Lake Vermillion.
And I tell you what, we've got 2 days, 2 tournaments in those 2 days. The anglers are going to want to catch fish the first day, but they're going to want to leave enough behind so that they can do well on day 2.
Strategy is going to be everything for 2 days on Lake Vermillion. Stick with us for day 1's dramatic action. The Minnesota ProAm Bass Tour is brought to you by Pepsi, the Minnesota State Lottery, K-Fan, and Ranger Boats.
Hi, I'm Bob Dole, and I've always spoken to you frankly. That's why I'm eager to tell you about a product that helps me feel youthful and vital again. What is this amazing product? My faithful little blue friend, an ice-cold Pepsi-Cola.
Are the revitalizing effects of Pepsi-Cola right for you? Check with your local convenience store counter clerk and start living.
I feel like a kid again.
Next.
That's different.
Happens every day.
The Minnesota State Lottery. Don't forget to have some fun.
AM 1130.
Hi, this is Captain Billy Hildebrand from Fan Outdoors. Billy's always got some good advice. I've learned a lot about fishing, for sure, and hunting. I enjoy the friendly banter going back and forth. I like listening when fishing's on, fishing's great. When hunting's on, hunting's great. Join us Thursday evenings and Saturday mornings on your outdoor sports leader, KFAN.
Taking turns out here isn't about sharing. And all out isn't anywhere close to empty. Ultimately, you don't have time for compromise. And we've never had a place for it. Ranger Boats and Mercury Outboards. Start to finish, this is solid performance for a liquid world.
Lake Vermillion is a huge body of water, and there's so much structure, so much different stuff. You can fish docks with sand, you can fish docks with rocks and weeds, you can fish rock points, you can fish rocks with wood. There's largemouth and smallmouth.
Smallmouth right now are relating to the reefs, and anywhere you come to a boulder area with a sharp drop. The largemouth are kind of more when you have some irregularity on a bank. I'm talking lily pads, reeds, wood.
We're just basically targeting smallmouth. I think pound for pound, the smallmouth are bigger fish.
And it is loaded with smallmouth out here. And the reason it's loaded with smallmouth is because of these little guys. It's the rusty crawfish. They are all over, and you can see how they're holding on to my jig like this. They're very, very aggressive. And so we're trying to really slow down on these reefs out here and get them with a jig like this Thunderbullets jig.
Using a Husky jerk. I'm using that because of the suspend. Gets down a little bit deeper than a regular Rapalus. Right now I'm fishing on spinning line with some fire line. The reason I'm doing that is I can work the bait a lot faster and cover more water.
I think it's going to make it a little tougher up here for 2 days just because there's a lot of one fish spots. When you go and drain them your first day, then you got to rely on other spots. That's why I'm trying to get 40, 50 spots to rely on throughout the weekend.
I'm going to approach this tournament just like I did the tournament at Leech. I'm not fishing for points, I'm fishing these 2 tournaments to win.
The ultimate goal is to reach the Tournament of Champions.
The anglers are anxious to get this event underway.
And I don't blame them, Chip, because there's a lot at stake here. This is the last 2 days of the season. We've got 2 tournaments on Lake Vermillion left. This is 40% of their season, and it's going to decide 2 things.
There's one right there.
Who's going to make the pro and the amateur side as far as Angler of the Year is concerned?
There he is.
and who's going to go to the championship and who's going to have to stay at home.
And what a great test it is, Lake Vermillion. Here we are in northern Minnesota. In fact, it's the farthest north these anglers will be all year long. So now the anglers have to decide between two different species, smallmouth and largemouth.
And those decisions are going to come down to who can put together the best bag and possibly maybe throw in a couple big fish to win this tournament. Let's roll out in the water and see exactly how they're going to tackle these decisions.
We're fishing between a group of islands called Seven Sisters. It's located on the eastern end of the lake near Tower. A lot of good rock humps around here. I think there's a lot more smallmouth in this area. Seems like the fish kind of school up closer to this side of the lake. Right in here, there's like a little saddle between these two islands. And what I found was a pretty good school of fish. Almost had a little tap there. It's just a matter of getting them to bite now.
You know, Chip, this is interesting. We're here watching Joe Pica. He's fishing a lot different than most of the pros.
He sure is, Tom. Most of the anglers are concentrating on the Canadian Shield aspects of the lake. Rocky shorelines, points, underwater humps, things without vegetation. Joe, on the other hand, Tom, has gone into the thickest vegetation.
And it's shallow, too. And in that shallow water, Joe Pica is not planning on catching pickerel. He wants to pick out a peck of behemoth bass.
Fish? It's about 7:20 in the morning, and we got 8 fish in the live well right now. We got about 20 pounds. It was fast and furious. We could barely even cast. We would have one in the net, the other guy would have one on. Basically what we're fishing right here, it's a rock finger that sticks out. The key to fishing these smallmouth bass, you got to find the small little rocks when they come up and feed on these spots. They want it easy. They just want to move up, feed on the crayfish. They don't want to work too hard for their meal. It's been unbelievable action.
Amateur just got a little smallmouth there. Primarily, we're fishing largemouth in this spot. I believe you're going to have a little bit of both to win this tournament. I don't think you can bank on one or the other. That's what our plan was to come up here and get some early largemouth and then go sit on some schools of smallmouth later. There we go.
There where my frog is, that's where the beaver been running back and forth. And it's a little deeper where the beaver been going back and forth. It's probably twice as deep as the water is. And those fish like to follow that route in and out. And you'll usually catch them about right where my bait is.
This is one beautiful bunch of water. Can't believe it. And the people are so friendly. And good luck for the tournament and all that stuff. So it's just wonderful.
It's a down deep fat wrap. Guesstimating we have about 16, 17 pounds already. We got pretty lucky in the area. We were fishing this morning. You're gonna see some big weights. About 4 pounds.
I'm just hitting some water that looks familiar to me and what I know how to fish and can fish, and some lighter line than a lot of guys like to use. I determine the fall rate by the gauge of the wire hook I use. Heavier hook, I get a faster fall rate. Smaller gauge hook, a little bit slower. And you just cast in there and hope you see that line start moving.
Well, I'm fishing the tournament as a pro. My youngest son, Dylan, is fishing as an am. The whole idea behind fishing the ProAm this year is it's more of a family affair. Our oldest son is driving camera boat and helping out on the tournament trail, and this whole tournament is a good family program.
Good job, dude. Yay.
And what I'm doing is I'm fishing the bank, actually. This bank, for some reason, more than any of the banks I fished, tends to hold fish. I'm throwing a spinnerbait, white and chartreuse 1/4 ounce spinnerbait. And Jay, my partner here, is throwing, what are you throwing, Jay, a little worm? With these bright sunny days, you have to fish this bank in the morning. To come here in the middle of the afternoon, you don't get much luck. It's just the sun is shining on the bank and you just don't catch the fish, so it's pretty interesting.
There's a fish. It's a decent fish. It's coming this way. No, 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 no. It's a big fish. Yes. I'm catching them on spinner baits here. We're catching on worms that work together that way. That's fish number 6 for us at 8:30.
The Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour is brought to you by Star Tribune, Fox Sports Net North, Yamaha Motor Corporation, and Media Rare Incorporated.
News, free time, travel, home zone, cars.com, Work Avenue, shopping, and communities. StarTribune.com. See what you can do.
Good.
Take it in, take it in.
Isn't your son on the team?
Yeah, starting center.
My daughter's a cheerleader. She's the third one from the left.
She's pretty light on her feet for a fat girl. Yeah, to the hoop, to the hoop. Yes.
The Last Word with Jim Rome. The only sports commentary that's truly brutally honest. Weeknights at 11:30 on Fox Sports Net.
There's an old saying that goes, the faster you can move, the longer you can fish. Now couple that with first one there gets the best fishing spot, and you're ready for Yamaha's new high-pressure direct injection system on the VMAX 150. The only system that atomizes fuel at an unprecedented 700 PSI for power and fuel efficiency, quicker starts, and breathtaking acceleration. That's reason enough to call 1-800-88-YAMAHA today, because the faster you can move, the longer you can fish.
What does the public relations company Media Rare have in common with Chris Lidke, Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour's Angler of the Year? One simple philosophy. Give them what they can't resist, and they'll bite. Media Rare, your link to innovative communications.
Lake Vermillion, it's absolutely gorgeous. You know, this is my first time up here. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, you look around, it's just, you know, solid trees. You don't see another boat anywhere. It's a huge body of water, and all the wildlife, you see deer, eagles, everything while you're fishing. It just makes it so much more enjoyable.
Well, the area has, of course, Fortune Bay Resort Casino. We have 116 rooms with 5 different types of suites. We have an indoor restaurant, deli, ballroom, lots of weddings. Of course, this is a beautiful country for weddings.
The people around here, the scenery, the wildlife, it's all fantastic.
Well, Chipper, everything's coming together, and I'll tell you what, the stage is up, the tent is up. This is excitement.
Oh, excitement. Tournament fishing is one of the fastest growing sports in North America, and the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour is the richest one in the entire Midwest. There are going to be hundreds of people here this afternoon checking out Vermillion's weigh-in. This is it, Tom.
Oh, this is it, Chip. I'm excited, but I tell you what, who's more excited than we are the anglers. They're out on the water right now. Let's roll out there and see exactly what they're doing to get up on this stage and win this event.
Did you see the size of that bass that Ross Taylor just put in the boat? It's early in the morning on day 1 of Lake Vermillion. That's their 7th fish today. There's lots of day left for Ross Taylor. In fact, there's lots of his career left. This man's only 17 years old.
Okay, ready? Yep. All right, Scott, we got a good deal going, man. We just gotta keep up. I don't know. Gotta get to these big fish.
Basically what we're doing is we're just throwing it up against as close as we can to bank. Anything in the water, bringing it back very slowly, there's a sunfish or something hitting it. And hoping for the best today. Using an XP hook with just a little Squirmers Berkeley power tube. I don't know if he's gonna miss that yet.
So everything's kind of going as planned right now. So I'm glad we got 2 big fish in right away this morning. I'm hoping we'll sneak upon one more real big fish later today. And, you know, keep catching some small largemouth mainly is what we're fishing for, but just we'll keep plugging away until we find that one big bite.
Well, when you only got 7 fish like we got, we're just running around trying to get our 8th one more than anything, and just hitting as many docks as we can. The docks don't seem to be as good as they were in practice. That was number 8 we just picked up. A little small, but it's a limit. So we're just keep working on it here and maybe pick up some bigger fish.
This spot will be short and sweet. There's just a couple of logs in the water here. We're just gonna go flip them jungle jigs in there and see if we can't pull a big one. There's a lot of tournaments are won and lost with the net. You know, if the guy goes for the fish when the fish is swimming away, or he doesn't go for it when it jumps. I mean, a good net man is key. A lot of tournaments are won and lost that way. I know that when I fish with my dad and my brother, if you ain't there with the net, you can plan on getting yelled at. They don't even say get the net, it's just you see the hook set and you better be there. Ready? Ah! I got him. Yes. Whoa! Almost did the Jim Bitter. That's why you always put them in the bottom of the boat. I'm so glad that bad boy didn't jump out.
Here we're working these humps. They're about 10-foot humps with rocks on it. And you're just dragging. A lot of times you get hung up in a rock like I'm doing right now, and you just kind of pop it over the rock. Keep your bait right on the bottom. Basically all they're doing is feeding on crayfish right now, so they're looking down for their bait. So we're just dragging these tube jigs and spider jigs across the rocks right now. And by God, I think I got a bite. Got one, Greg. Get the net. It's a good one too. Come on, stay on, stay on. It's a nice smallie, nice smallie. Get him. Fish,
oh, man,
nice
good
smallie.
fish.
A nice Lake Vermillion smallmouth here. That thing will go 4.5 pounds. Beautiful fish.
Ooh.
That will help.
Oh, yeah.
The Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour is brought to you by Starcraft Pontoons, Minnesota Office of Tourism, and Friendly Chevrolet.
makes you think this is a good fishing spot?
Oh, just a hunch.
Hi, guys. How'd I bite?
Dad, that's El Lindo. That's Ted Takasaki. Gary,
Hi, Bob. Morning, boys.
Hey, Winkleman!
How'd you guys find this spot?
From our Minnesota Fishing Guide.
For this hot spot and 10,000 like it, get your free Explore Minnesota Fishing Guide today.
The sale's on now at the #1 Chevy dealer in the state, Friendly Chevrolet. Whether you buy or lease, the time is now. Stop in today and lease a 2001 S10 pickup for just $167 a month. Or take home a 4x4 van, Tahoe, or Suburban from the largest selection in the state. Now is the time to save big at Friendly Chevrolet. Like Chevy says, we'll be there.
Friendly Chevrolet. Depend on us.
The sale's on now.
The reason I like bringing the anglers up here to Lake Vermillion is because it's a body of water that's totally different from anything these guys are used to fishing. I would say about 80% of the anglers are centrally based and some of them are southern based, and what they get into there is a situation where they're running crankbaits through the cabbage, they're flipping jigs into the milfoil, slow rolling spinner baits through the pondweed, and we get into a situation here where they get used to fishing the vegetation and they figure that's where all the bass are keying on. And then we get up to a lake like Vermillion, it's all sand and rock. Now all of a sudden they got to change their whole game plan. They actually have to change their whole way of thinking because it's a totally different fishery. Now instead of largemouth, which they're usually chasing, they're going after the smallmouth bass. Some of the guys are real successful, some of them are not, but whether you catch a lot of fish or not, when you come out on a beautiful body of water like this, you always have a great time.
TSH is here to say hello to you in a mighty way. With pep and spirit, we're ready to cheer. Hey, hey, fishermen, we're glad you're here.
Ladies and gentlemen, look at the size of those bass.
But Mike and I had a great time, and what gets any better than going fishing?
It looks like you put it together pretty good, limit of fish, and Danny Suggs has locked us in at 16.24 pounds. Give him a round of applause. It looks like a monster bag of fish. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at your new tournament leader with 17.71 pounds. I want to move up here just a little bit closer and get a better look on these fish.
And you just took the lead with 19.51 pounds. How do you feel, Ernie?
I didn't expect 19 pounds. I figured we had 16.
So let's bring up a second-year pro on the Minnesota ProAm Bass Tour, Mr. David Larson from Mountain, Minnesota. It's 20.85. Brian Blazer is our leader with 20.85 pounds. We're going to have to do better than that to take first place. These fish are lively. We need a comb. We need a comb. We lock in at 22.11 pounds. Your new leader for Lake Vermillion, David Larson.
You gotta love it! Let's hear a big round of applause for these two exciting young men. They just took the lead.
That fish is bigger than your pro.
The largemouth weigh a little bit more than the smallmouth. You need to beat 4.50 pounds to take the big fish lead. And we're going to get a weight here as soon as it locks in at 5.59 pounds.
Go pick up.
Whoa, go pick that up, Russ.
This morning, ladies and gentlemen, how's that for northern Minnesota largemouth bass out of Canadian Shield Water, Lake Vermillion?
Brad, you look like you're calm, cool, and collective.
Well, we caught our fish pretty quick, so we had about 7 hours to calm down. It was actually a really tough day.
Well, time to get excited because there's your new leader with 25.01 pounds. 25 pounds and some change. Go pick out a big fish. This is the last cutaway. This is Jeffrey Vitale and his amateur partner Steve Dolney. 23.28. You're in second. You guys take first. You take the check.
And say congratulations to your 2001 Minnesota ProAm Bass Tour Lake Vermillion champions.
This is my first win on the Minnesota ProAm. Basically what we're using today were 2 baits. One was a spider jig,
What we're doing with that, we're throwing it out there on top of these humps. We're dragging it really slow, basically imitating a crawfish. They would come down, you could almost feel them look at your bait. They would pick it up, spit it out, and you just kind of hold your bait there. Every once in a while, a big smallie would pick it up. And basically the other bait we're using, this is kind of a search bait, we're using a crankbait. And basically all we're doing with this, we're throwing these on top of the humps, we're kind of cranking them slow, digging into the rocks, imitating kind of a crayfish pounding on the bottom, and with this bait we're just going after reaction strikes. And if anybody wants to catch any smallmouth, this is a great place to go, Lake Vermillion.
Boy, Chip, what an awesome tournament and a great time here chilling on Lake Vermillion.
It's pretty cool. 3 newcomers, David Larson, Brian Reller put it together for 3rd place. Jeffrey Vitale, his amateur partner Steve Dolney, wrap up 2nd.
But the big news, their first tournament victory, pro Brad Klein and Greg Wright, 1st place, 25 pounds.
So you're going to want to stick with us as things heat up in the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour. Our next show is going to be exciting.
It's got a lot of things going on with the qualifying field being determined and Angler of the Year with names like Troy Barrett, Paul Newman, Brad Leiferman, and Lauren Ross.
But can Minnesota bass fishing legend Dean Capra hold on to his lead in the Angler of the Year race? You're going to have to tune in to find out as these anglers kick it in gear, see who ends up Angler of the Year on the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour.
Camera boats provided by Crystal Piers Marine.